Hello, welcome back to part 2 of And the Good News Is. If you stayed with us from part 1, this is the show where we're looking at good news stories to brighten up the bad and negative news we've all gotten so used to seeing. I'm Roxy Allen.
And I'm Ben Rogers, here at our studio at Leeds Trinity University in the United Kingdom. And we're joined by our colleagues from around the world.
I'm Toby
And I'm Annie Chen at Hong Kong Baptist University in Hong Kong.
Hi, I'm Shaylee Liederman.
And I'm Sienna Pottinger, your new host from Toronto Metropolitan University in Toronto, Canada.
I'm Victoria Petrasek from Breda University of Applied Sciences in Breda, the Netherlands.
I'm Felipe Simões.
And I'm Julia Benavidi, and we are from Metodista University of São Paulo in São Paulo, Brazil.
In this part of the show, we'll be exploring culture, looking after the environment, and learning more about the kindness of strangers.
For 2 years, the pandemic limited social interactions between friends, family, and strangers. However, with the easing of restrictions comes a return to normalcy and the opportunity for acts of kindness among strangers.
Ainsley Cherry from Toronto Metropolitan University asked people on campus about acts of kindness they have given recently.
When I'm really down or feeling overly anxious, frustrated, or sad, I find a lot of comfort in the simple good deeds of strangers. In my experience, a simple smile from a coffee barista or holding the door open for someone goes a long way. After so much time in quarantine, removed from strangers in society, I think the positive impact that strangers are having on each other's lives is great news coming out of the pandemic. I want to know more about the nice things that strangers are doing for one another, so I've come to Gold Street to ask people 2 questions. What is something that a stranger did for you recently that improved your day?
The woman in the metro at Dundas let me in for free after I forgotten my transfer.
That's wonderful. And what is something that you've done for someone recently, big or small, that you are proud of?
I mean, I'm never really proud of the things I do for other people, but something I've done for someone recently is a staff member who I work with wanted to go to a Halloween party, so I volunteered to take care of her children while she was gone.
If I see someone have a nice compliment to say to them, whether they're wearing nice glasses or they have shoes or something about them, I'm never afraid to give a compliment because you never know what someone's going through.
Recently I was wearing an outfit that I wasn't too sure of when I left the house. I was really going for it, and then I got a couple compliments, and it really just made me feel super included and like I could wear that outfit.
I think a week ago I was downtown and I had to drive to school that day, and someone just paid for my parking, which is really nice.
I dropped my wallet the other day because I have a little zipper back here, so it just fell out and I had no idea. And the lady, I could tell she ran up to give it back to me, and I felt so nice because that would have ruined my entire day.
Something I've done for a stranger recently is I had some extra food coming home from Bible study, and I shared it with a homeless man and his dog, and just his happiness made me really happy.
I'm Ainsley Cherry from Toronto Metropolitan University in Toronto.
It's so nice to see people looking after each other after such an isolating period of COVID. The cost of living crisis has affected the lives of many recently, with some people having to make the unfortunate choice of either eating or heating.
However, there is light in the gloom. Our UK reporter Chris Brannan caught up with an amateur baker who's doing his part to help those in need.
The cost of living crisis has affected everyone, with people having to cut back on their favourite sweet treats such as cookies, cakes and brownies in order to pay their bills. However, that hasn't stopped amateur baker Josh Hamilton from pursuing his passion whilst in the midst of the crisis in order to improve his mental health.
I've been baking since the first lockdown. I've been inspired by Great British Bake Off. I've been watching recent episodes of them, and I've been baking ever since.
It's through Josh's passion of baking, however, that he has found a way of helping people who need it most during the crisis by helping them prioritise paying their bills through baking them different treats.
Through the cost of living crisis, I've been helping people by baking small sweet treats so they can focus on the bills and the different payments. It started with my grandparents, and then since then it's been through their friends and further on, and yeah.
One of the people Josh has been baking for is Savannah Brookwood, a family friend of his who is currently 8 months pregnant and has been struggling financially during the crisis. Today, Josh has brought her round some brownies as a way to treat herself while she tries to find ways to pay her bills.
I think what Josh is doing is very inspirational. and he's improving the morale of the community. I definitely think we need more people like that in the world.
After all the baking, all that's left to do is to enjoy the brownies and have a much needed catch up with a cup of tea. Everyone has been affected during the crisis, so it's important we all look out for each other in any way possible. This has been Chris Brannan, Leeds Trinity University, Headingley.
Let's turn now to Canada for our next story.
Thanks, Roxy. It's great to be fully back on campus after 2 years of COVID lockdowns and online learning. It's fair to say that online learning was frustrating, but it was even more difficult for families without the money to buy laptops for their kids.
Yes, our next story sets place in a church north of Toronto called Brampton. There, they put together enough funds to give back to the community by purchasing Chromebooks for the kids in need. Here's my report.
Kimberly Brown is taking her notes down in real time on her Chromebook. Before Kingdom House Christian Center gave it to her, back in 2021, she had no convenient and effective way of doing online learning. The Kingdom House Chromebook project was set up as part of the church's outreach program to help reduce and remove economical and social barriers and inequalities in society. With the support of the Kingdom House congregation, as well as the Ontario Trillium Fund, they were able to purchase and partner with a number of local schools to distribute Chromebooks to families in need.
It was pretty difficult getting the hang of online and technology and stuff like that.
Kingdom House Christian Center is a place of giving, and through the help of both the government and the congregation, Kingdom House was able to provide students with technology that they didn't have before.
This project was important for us to do because we wanted to do two things: to impact the community, as I said, help the marginalized sector to be more fruitful in school. We thought that's something we could do. But the second thing is we wanted to let the community know that the church was there. For students in households who didn't have a device to do their online learning. Or they only had a phone, or there were more than one student in the family, but they only had one at the moment.
For students like Kimberly Brown, it was a lifesaver.
I felt very excited and grateful because it was an opportunity that not everyone could have. And so I'm very grateful to the Kingdom House community.
Based on the success of this project, Kingdom House will continue to outreach within the community. I'm Sienna Pottinger for Toronto Metropolitan University.
It's good to see communities helping each other out. Now, it's not easy breaking into the film industry. Without the right connections and financial support, young creators find it difficult getting their work seen.
The Toronto International Film Festival is known as a showcase for the biggest Hollywood films. But TIFF, as it is called, also holds a free film festival for anyone under the age of 25.
It's a chance for young Canadian filmmakers to get their work seen in front of a huge international audience. Anna Sepla from Toronto Metropolitan University has more.
This is It's a Girl, a short film directed by Tram Nguyen, the Toronto-based Vietnamese filmmaker's ongoing exploration of cultural reflections and gender identity collates images of the filmmaker's childhood with sequences of him being coerced by his peers to wear a plastic crown. A critique of gender reveal parties, the short made its way to the Young Creator Showcase in late April of this year, and having his film shown at TIFF Next Wave was an incredible experience.
I got the opportunity to meet a lot more people and more filmmakers, and especially young filmmakers like me, so it was really nice. And getting to be on stage, having my film screened to an audience in a room that big, it was just surreal to me, and I never thought it would ever have happened, and it did. So I'm very grateful.
Tramline's film was one of 11 screened at the Young Creator Showcase. As a current student of TMU's film program, it was an amazing opportunity for Nguyen to get his work screened at such a prestigious festival.
TIFF is literally a big name in the film industry, and yeah, I got to meet a lot of different people through TIFF, especially like filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers, and young filmmakers. I feel Next Wave really gives an opportunity for young people to create and start somewhere and have it shine.
Traman is hoping to have another film in next year's Next Wave lineup. In an industry that remains notoriously difficult for directors to get a break, being able to share his work with other filmmakers has been a good way to get his career started. I'm Anna Saplala, reporting from Toronto Metropolitan University.
Women in sport the world over have been struggling for equality for years, from female athletes getting paid less to female broadcasters being judged on their appearance rather than their knowledge. It has not been an equal playing field generally.
Third-year Toronto Metropolitan University sports media student Casey Dobson aims to change this narrative. She's created the all-female run sports media brand, Unbenched. Here's Toronto Metropolitan University student Donna Roca with the story.
For years, women have been climbing an uphill battle to be heard in the sports industry.
Women in sports matter, and we deserve to have our voices heard.
That's Casey Dobson. She's a sports media student at TMU, and it's her goal to give women more visibility in sports. So she started a website.
I really started it to just give women in sport media, specifically obviously my year, an opportunity to have somewhere to put their work out.
Casey has created the all-female ran website Unbenched to bestow an opportunity for females to cultivate their voices in the sporting world. She knows that there are well-known Canadian women athletes like soccer player Christine Sinclair and hockey player Hayley Wickenheiser, but that most Canadians probably don't know many more names than those, and she's already seeing an impact in the value people are getting from visiting the site.
It's been really exciting to see the shift in confidence, both in myself and in a lot of the women that have joined us. And I mean, now we're lucky enough to work with women who don't even go to sport media in the school, who are from other schools, other cities, other countries. It's been a really cool opportunity to branch out and see everyone just get more confident and, find their voice and really feel comfortable doing what it is at the end of the day that we all love to do.
Casey knows the importance of women's voices in the sports industry. She enriches her brand with new voices and perspectives from across the globe. Casey has no plans of slowing down and hopes to push the boundaries with her innovations, from podcasts with female industry leaders to a pro-women clothing line.
I really want it to continue to be a safe space that amplifies women and non-binary people in sport media and just gives them the opportunity to put their work out there.
Casey's website continues to break down barriers one post at a time. Donna Roca, reporting from Toronto Metropolitan University in Toronto, Ontario.
Movements like these are really inspiring for young women in sport. Now, for clothes that are far beyond repair, a store in Leeds here in the UK is turning them into sustainable products by upcycling them.
Trad Collective have introduced a wool recycling scheme after the increase in demand for warmer winter clothing. They received donations of old sweaters and transformed them into hot water bottle covers and blankets in order to promote sustainability. Here's our reporter, Demaya Williams.
Store owner Josephine Wanner has always been self-aware about being sustainable at a younger age and was first inspired by her younger sister to pursue opening her own creative space by combining her love for fashion and sustainability into a store.
I wanted to scale up my business somehow, but it's quite tricky to make your own upcycling business with you just sewing things yourself into a full-time business with a full-time wage, sort of. So we started working on how can we expand on this concept and how can we make it a bit fuller, and that's kind of where the store came into the picture.
Trad Collective have launched a wool recycling scheme through upcycling wool into hot water bottle covers and insoles due to it being of use for customers to help keep warm during the winter months ahead.
And wool is quite a tricky thing because it's so easy for it to get damaged, and we had a big moth problem in our own house last year, and basically all our wool garments was full of holes. And obviously, because I can sew, I mended them all, but if that happens to someone and they can't, will they just throw it away? What happens to all that knitwear? And then we were just thinking that, well, if there's a place for them to sort of bring it in, we could just give it a new lease of life. Same if you shrink something in the wash and your knitwear becomes all felted, you can't really wear it anymore, so what do you do with it? And that's kind of what we thought would be a good place to start, and then we could just remake it into other things.
The future for Trad now is the hope of an expansion of another store within the heart of the city centre and to have a larger range of sizes for the second-hand clothes that they sell. and to hopefully collaborate with more smaller brands in the future. I'm Demay Williams from Leeds Trinity University at Trad Collective in Headingley, Leeds.
And thankfully, here in Brazil, we are definitely not needing sweaters right now, since the summer is coming and the sun is shining bright outside. And now, staying with the sustainable theme, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development launched by the United Nations is a plan of action for people, the planet, and prosperity. It provides a shared blueprint, and at its heart are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
In a community college in Taiwan, a course of remaking old clothes teaches students to upcycle for sustainability, repairing, remaking, and re-imaging old clothes into new fashion. Now let's head over to the south of Taiwan to find out more.
现代社会快时尚主义崛起，许多人跟着当下的流行趋势，衣服买了又买，却对衣柜造成负担。许多自己已不穿又舍不得丢的旧衣，就可以利用一点小巧思，改造成一件件崭新的物品来，赋予它新生命，又会是一番不同的韵味。来自台南社区大学的高运芬老师，在地深耕多年，发挥他的缝纫专长，开设了旧衣改造课程，重复利用来实现绿色永续的概念。
我叫高运芬，我在台南社区大学。我从2009年开始教旧衣改造，我个人很有兴趣做的是手做的东西，尤其我这人很好奇，就没学过的我都想要试试看这样子，把不要的东西再来做，像是可能修改衣服啊，或是把它变成别的东西。我的原先的本意就是这样，我比较注重生活实用上，都会朝生活上解决问题来。像我们每学期的成果展啊，我都跟学生讲好的，就是说2层我们去做公益，我都会给在台南市我知道的一些公益团体，也不是说很多钱啊，可是鼓励学员这样子。
也需要送朋友礼物啊，或者是过年过节，这个时候都会想要自己动手做，而且是重复再利用的东西，而不再是再去花钱买新的这样。那做出来的东西其实都不输外面卖的东西，而且朋友收到的那种情谊更重。
丢掉的衣服或是不用的东西真的太多了哈，丢掉真的觉得很可惜，所以我都会想说可以把它变成别的东西来用这样子。
高老师的影响渐渐融入了学员们的生活中，以这种温柔的方式，尽自己所能，实践着社会运动。在不知不觉间，环保再利用已成了他们的日常。
You've been hearing us call our university Toronto Metropolitan University. That's a brand new name. It used to be called Ryerson. As you can imagine, changing the name of a big institution means changing everything, from signs to logos to email addresses.
And in the athletics department, it's meant getting new jerseys for all the sports teams. But as Ben Hughes reports, instead of throwing out all the old stuff, it's going to be recycled.
With the historic name change from Ryerson to Toronto Metropolitan University, there has come the need to also change all the branded materials associated with the old name. The Branded Materials Transition Project was founded to do just that, with a focus on reducing the transition's carbon footprint. Here is Gina Vaccaro, the project lead, with a little on how this all got started.
So I just put together a project, and I was literally okay, if I could say we're going to reuse, recycle, upcycle, or downcycle everything affected by our change.
This has meant the collection of over 10,000 tons of materials from over 200 areas around the campus. The most sustainable way to transition any product is to put it back into its primary use. So the project team had to come up with a way to do this.
So what we actually did was work with somebody on campus in chemistry to find something that could just take the Ryerson name off of whatever it was.
In the end, acetone-based nail polish remover turned out to be an amazing tool for debranding. The team behind the project did not just stop at collecting things from around campus. Here is Gino with what phase 2 of the plan is.
So phase 1 had been, let's do everything on campus, but phase 2 was anybody who wants their stuff transitioned could bring it in. So like students could bring stuff from other years. Like I went to TMU back in the day, so I could bring my stuff in.
Truly, the Branded Materials Transition Project is making the future look like one where sustainability is at the front of all big changes. The project even inspired me to donate my old RU hat. This has been Benjamin Haugens from Toronto Metropolitan University, back to you in the studio.
Turning now to the environment, and despite countries across the world pledging to reduce carbon emissions, research shows they continue to increase.
The UK is striving to reach a net zero target by 2050, and a chemical engineering company, Sea Capture, aims to help the environment with its new unique technology. Amelia Riley reports from Leeds.
Leeds company Sea Capture has invented solvent-based technology which offers a safe, low-cost approach to removing carbon dioxide from emissions.
Sea Capture have come up with a new technology which uses 20 to 40% less energy to capture CO2 than currently commercially available techniques. Carbon capture and storage is what puts the net into net zero. So we've taken ideas from the laboratory scale and we're now developing and scaling up that concept into what we expect to be a commercial and then industrial scale application.
The technology can be used in most processes that require the separation of CO2 from other gases, such as power stations, cement plants, and much more.
What we have here is a laboratory where we've got doing things on a bench scale. We've got a piloting area where we're doing things on floor-mounted rigs, and we're taking the data from those floor-mounted rigs and building equipment which is the size of a shipping container, and we've moved those out into our partner Drax Power Station, and they are operating that rig to gain information about how our solvent behaves in the real world. We've then built another test rig with the size of about 10 shipping containers all stacked up on top of each other, where we're looking at a flue gas stream going from one valve in the shipping container to about 10 valves. And looking at and measuring the differences between those two systems is going to help us to scale up to a fully industrial scale version, the size of a house in terms of square footage, but 20 stories tall. We've got over 75 new lines of inquiry to improve that technology, reducing the cost of carbon capture a further 20%. So the technology never stands still. We've got prototypes operating now at Drax, and we've got more prototypes planned.
Sea Capture aims to design their first commercial scale unit in the year to come. I'm Amelia Riley from Leeds Trinity University in Leeds.
Climate change can seem like a frightening and overwhelming issue, but our next story shows that it doesn't have to be.
Yes, when it comes to making a difference, Manvi Bala, a PhD student at the University of British Columbia, thinks she has some of the answers.
She's the co-founder of a youth-led climate change justice nonprofit. It's called Shake It Up, the Establishment. Stephanie D'Souza from TMU in Toronto has her story.
Forest fires, devastating floods, deadly landslides. 2022 was an eventful summer for British Columbians, but nothing out of the ordinary. With Canada warming twice as fast as the global average, this is their new normal. But who's to blame? Many agree multinational oil corporations are the culprit. One woman in BC turned her anger and frustration towards big oil companies into action. Class action, that is.
Sue Big Oil is a campaign that West Coast Environmental Law is acting as secretariat for, which means that they are kind of coordinating the efforts, but it's not necessarily their campaign alone. There's a number of collaborators, and one of them is us, Shake Up the Establishment.
They created a social media campaign educating and encouraging locals in Vancouver to contact their representatives and urge them to vote in favor of suing big oil companies.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to make a quick video to let you know that on Tuesday, Vancouver City Council is having a vote to determine whether or not they're going to sue big oil.
Scientists estimate local governments will need to spend about $5.3 billion each year to prepare for the coming climate impacts, a burden taxpayers cannot keep up with.
Getting folks to become aware that they are not responsible for the cost of climate change, and they should not be paying out of pocket for sandbags when their cities flood. These big oil and gas companies, they have known for decades upon decades that their actions are directly leading to the climate crisis. We got the attention of over 14,000 viewers on our reels, which was amazing, but really the success was shown through the vote that came through in favor of suing big oil. It was a 6-5 vote. What City Council in Vancouver voted for was setting aside $1 per resident to put towards a lawsuit, and it really shows the power of advocacy in this matter, because it wasn't like it was a clear yes unanimously across the board.
The Suing Big Oil campaign aims to replicate Vancouver's success in every municipality across the province. BC unifying successfully would serve as a case study for the rest of the world. No country is immune to climate change, and pretty much everyone can make the same case against big oil companies. If the whole world made this case, it would be a testament to the power of people over profit. Stephanie D'Souza, Toronto Metropolitan University, Toronto.
A local brewing house near Leeds in the UK is making the most of helping out the locals. Horsworth Brewery is a company that has grown over the last 5 years despite COVID. From brewing their own beers to holding different events, it truly has won the hearts of locals. Our UK reporter MJ Binns has that story.
Horsworth Brewery is located a brisk 40-minute walk from the famous Kirkstall Abbey. The brewery is a welcoming place for all, where you can buy a range of ales.
As you can see, we're quite a small brewery. We've been going for just over 5 years. I started part-time in my garage, moved to an industrial unit, and then went full-time in March 2020. We moved here 2 years ago today, by coincidence. And we produce beers for our tap room that's at the other side of where we are now, and we also sell quite a bit of beer externally to other pubs and bottle shops.
The brewery produces a wide selection of beers for everyone to try, from light pale ales to dark rich stouts. They have a drink for every event.
Right, that's basically because we opened this place during COVID, that events were what brought people in. So we basically do a lot of events because that's how we've grown as a business, and it seems as though there's quite a local demand for it. So on a Tuesday we do a cinema night. Every single Tuesday we put a film on that's free to attend, and we get a regular audience for that. Tonight we're doing a beer and cheese pairing, which is the first time we've done a beer and cheese pairing here. We have done them previously, but it's the first time we've hosted one. And we do comedy nights as well, once a month comedy nights, live music, basically anything that will work.
However, it's not just beer and events that they do. They also do a range of merch from t-shirts to beer-scented soap and glasses, as well as a distilled spirit. I'm MJ Binns, Horsworth Brewery, Leeds.
Now, because of the COVID-19 lockdown, student residences here at Toronto Metropolitan University have felt empty and lifeless these past 2 years.
Yes, they have, but that's all changed this fall, and students are thrilled to be back socializing with the possibility of hugging and smiling with no masks. Here's Amanda Shakarski with a story about an in-person fall photo walk.
After 2 years of lockdown, people, including busy students, are excited to experience vibrant Toronto fall colors. Today, students are participating in a fall photography walk at Riverdale Park East. This event is hosted by Felicia, a community assistant at one of the TMU residents, who is excited about hosting in-person events, allowing students to connect.
Honestly, it's so much fun doing in-person events again at our student residence, because now we get to actually see each other and actually do things together, like go to the park together, go even hang out at each other's units. Like before, with the pandemic, like nobody could even go into each other's rooms because everyone had to self-isolate.
During the past 2 years, social isolation had an effect on mental health.
I think that the life without social events would be really weird here, because we need these events to meet new people, to enjoy, to have fun. So yeah, for me it's really important to have this type of events, and I think I couldn't enjoy my time in Toronto without this social events.
Future events include weekly floor parties at the residence and Saturday paint nights, which are fun ways for students to hang out and relax after a busy week.
It's really good news, I feel like, that we can do in-person events at the student residence, because now we can actually see each other, we can actually become friends and get to know other people in the building. For example, I would only know my roommates if we're self-isolating, but now that we're actually in person and doing events and just meeting other people, you get to learn about what they're doing, what they're studying, their backgrounds, and everything like that.
It seems like everyone is appreciating the outdoors more than ever, and California in the US is no exception.
Running through the most populous city in California's Central Valley, the Fresno Clovis Rail Trail is an outdoor recreational oasis and is attracting a lot of attention.
The Fresno Clovis Rail Trail is 10 miles long and is a favorite of bicyclists, joggers, and dog walkers.
I'm taking Indy here on a walk. We live close by, and I mean, do I wish it was probably about 10 times the length? Yes, but it's great. It's really close to us, and it's really nice.
The trail starts in Tarpey Village at the end of the railroad tracks and continues north through Old Town Clovis before heading east to River Park.
I grew up like on the other side of this fence, maybe 2 or 3 streets over, and so when I was a kid, this was the railroad tracks. Now, I'm 51. I live about 1.5 miles from where I grew up, and now I can walk on this trail that used to where I used to play as a kid.
Initially, logs were hauled from the mountains along this route, but during World War II, it was used to take people to the Pinedale internment camp. Commemorative plaques and statues can be found along the way. In addition to history, the trail is also a place for making new memories. The Dry Creek Bridge has become a local favorite.
I've been walking this trail for probably maybe 10 years. And just recently, I put this lock on for my sweetheart. We've been together maybe 6 years now, but it was time that we actually confirmed our relationship with this lock.
In addition to bridges, the trail is also fully paved and full of tunnels, making it a great place to catch some speed. The southern portion of the trail even has workout equipment.
And if you need to take a break, there's plenty of shaded benches along the way, including at rest stops that used to be old rail stations.
Just make sure not to relax for too long, because certain gated sections close after 9 p.m. In Fresno, Miranda Adams, Fresno State Focus.
This is such a good idea. Now people can enjoy the nature and walk through the trail. Over in the UK, plans for a new play area and a multi-use gym area was unveiled at a meeting for the Friends at Dartmouth Park.
The park in Morley, Leeds, has been funded by housing development contributions and will introduce a teen zone for young people.
Over £200,000 have been spent to support the regeneration project. Ella Marsden visited the park to chat to one of the locals excited for the change.
Dartmouth Park is a popular park within the Morley community. Over £200,000 has been funded to renovate this local park.
For once they're really investing in young people, which is really nice. They're going to change some, I think, the tennis court area and put like gym equipment and so on. So hopefully, yeah, the young people will gather together. There's one thing that I hope they do, and I think they're going to do, which is cut down some of these shrubs here, put some nice colourful flowers and some wildflowers and things, and you know, let's encourage the bees. In my opinion, you know, we need the bees, and you know, so I'd really like them to do more about that.
This has been something that has been campaigned by the community for many years. Locals have created an online group to discuss these improvements that will be introduced in these winter months.
There's a lot of money being invested, the botanical gardens, and it's just been left to decay. Well, they're spending money on that, and that will bring a lot of people into the park. It's really good news for the Morley area. I love to walk in it, and you know, I used to have a dog, but unfortunately it's not with me now, but I still like to walk and see they've put some statues in around the place, and you know, it's very welcoming, very welcoming.
Dartmouth Park is in the heart of Morley and is loved by many. This improvement plan will be welcomed by all teens, young people and adults. I am Ella Marsden, a student at Leeds Trinity University at Dartmouth Park, Morley.
Brazil suffered a great impact with the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of the delay in the purchase of the vaccines, we had more than 600,000 deaths, and those shall not be forgotten. Now, since the coronavirus outbreak, a lot of countries have had strict rules for people traveling back to their home countries as a way of preventing the spread of the disease. But recently, the Taiwanese government has loosened the restrictions.
Finally, travelers can enter Taiwan and travel around the world without staying in quarantine hotels for ages. Something that has happened a lot sooner in many other parts of the world.
Hello everyone, I'm Sarah, and today we invited Intong, who has just traveled to UAE for 10 days to share her amazing experience with us. Hello Intong.
Hi Sarah, hi everyone, I'm Tong.
Because the pandemic and to prevent the COVID-19 to well spread in our country, our government has set some restrictions of traveling around the world. So I would like to ask Intong, how many days you have stayed in the quarantine hotel or be self-quarantined?
0 days. Yeah, the policy now is only for 7 days self-management. Yeah, when we arrive and we only need to take our quick sip and welcome back to Taiwan. Yeah.
So really, that's a good news for all the travelers, right? And if you test is negative, so you can just go home and do your life. Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to show our PCR.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. 10 days sounds like a lot of fun. You must went to a lot of landscape there, right?
Yeah. It's amazing, in Dubai, if you don't have money, you die.
Oh really?
Really? Yeah. So save your money and go aboard.
And can you show us some of the clips you have traveled there?
Of course.
Wow, I gotta say, I'm so envy you. You can travel to UAE and I have to stay in Taiwan. But hope every one of us have the opportunity to travel around the world. Goodbye.
Since mid-October, the Hong Kong government has relaxed some of the COVID restrictions. Our restaurant can now stay open as long as they wish, unlike what it has been for 2 years, when customers must leave by 10 at night. Incense is part of Hong Kong's culture and everyday life. The tradition of creating giant coils of incense is being revived through incense workshops, in hope they will promote this traditional part of Hong Kong's culture to more people.
Let's learn a bit more about the amazing world of incense.
Traditional Chinese incense is part of everyday life in Hong Kong, but few people in the city know how to make giant coils like these nowadays. Tang Ho Chun, though, is hoping to revive this tradition. He runs incense workshops like this 4 times every month.
我中4嘅時候就開始玩香文化呢樣嘢，研究香文化。最初上咗一次係去到鑽石山有個自然靜園咧，到突然間聞到一陣好香嘅味道，跟住我就好想記住佢個味道，咁我就不如學下自己做啦。咁我5年前開始教班咁樣咯，我亦都好想將呢樣傳統嘅文化推廣俾人哋，知道佢嘅好處，係令到更多人可以認識到呢樣嘢咯。咁呢度有好多唔同嘅香料啦，咁我哋
Agarwood, sandalwood, burnolum, and musk are among the many fragrances they use. The sandalwood he uses here comes from India. It is mixed with water, then rolled onto the spill.
咁左手拉，一路前後，然後左手拉，咁跟住就搞掂咗㗎啦。
Some can be in coils.
上了这个课之后，我又发现，这个文化真的是跟我想象的完全不一樣。
其實有得咁樣參與多啲有關於呢啲咁樣嘅文化，其實係對於除咗了解多咗之外，其實對於我哋起碼我都仲識點樣做，簡單咁做香啫。起碼呢個文化可以傳承落去咯，就唔會話個師傅離開咗啦，咁就斷咗咁樣咯。
Shops like this one that specializes in selling incense gets most of their products from mainland China. In traditional ancestor worship, incense offering is meant as a kind of prayer from the heart. The revival of handmade incense has brought the tradition of burning incense for relaxation back to incense culture in Hong Kong.
8 years, 28 countries, over 1,400 participants.
Yes, our next story spans all of that. A worldwide community of stitchers from all faiths have come together to engage with words of Torah. I found out more details about such an initiative.
Torah Stitch by Stitch is a collaborative art project that encourages individuals from all over the world to stitch a verse from the Torah onto a blank canvas. Sewn together, the panels of the assembled tapestry reflect the personal, cultural, and spiritual ideals of its thousands of makers. Dara Nathanson is from Toronto. She's one of the main organizers of the initiative.
Temma, when she started the project, thought it would just be a few friends and they'd sew a few panels together, but it went worldwide by word of mouth mostly and spread through 27 countries. So in the end, from the very beginning to now almost, it's been about 8 years.
The worldwide community of stitchers each contribute $18 to receive all the materials they need to sew their panels in Hebrew. Many choose to illuminate their panels with additional embellishments to show their unique creativity and zest.
I think that it shows the people that are able to see it in some sort of an exhibit that everybody can participate in the same kind of project. We have people that have listed themselves as Catholic, non-religion, pagan, Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish. It's an all-encompassed project, community, cultural-wise, and it comes out in the most magnificent art project that you may ever see, and most definitely the most original.
Bringing together people of all backgrounds, Torah Stitch by Stitch is an amazing initiative that allows participants to engage with words of the Torah in a contemplative, physical process. The team is currently working to proofread, scan, and assemble the remaining panels to finish the full project and share its beauty as widely as possible. I'm Sabrina Pontello from Toronto Metropolitan University in Toronto.
Now, it's not unknown that Hollywood has had a problem with representation. Indigenous representation in film has been lacking for years.
But in Toronto, Indigenous communities from all over the world meet annually to express their perspectives using screen-based content at the Imaginative Film Festival. Here's Erin Sayer from Toronto Metropolitan University with the story.
Imaginative Film and Media Arts Festival was launched in the year 2000 to support the diverse contemporary work of Indigenous creators. It appears annually, with the bulk of the festival happening in Toronto. This is Bailey Poaching, the writer and director of a film titled The Voyager's Legacy, which played at Imaginative Film Festival this October. Set during the Dawn Raids in New Zealand, the film centers around the 3 youngest children of a Samoan family as they reimagine their Ponsonby home into a whimsical fairy tale world. This is what Bailey had to say about his experience with the festival this year.
It's just so important to represent marginalized communities, and so to have a community like the Indigenous community, which is something that we don't even consider to be a kind of network of people a lot of the time. It's so cool to have people from all over the globe with this really strange experience of the world and sort of worldview come together and exchange ideas and art and just hang out and spend time with each other.
Te Wairangi-Ratana is the director of Manu Masters. His film is a coming-of-age comedy where the protagonist is on a mission to learn how to bomb for Matuapai to save both his reputation and his self-esteem. Te Wairangi-Ratana had many positive things to say about Imaginative Film Festival.
I feel supported and I feel, you feel seen and you feel represented because, you're watching films that are maybe not about you, but I think there's so much shared kind of history and shared trauma and stuff between Native peoples where you get it, you understand what these films are about and what they mean for the filmmakers.
Imaginative Film and Media Arts Festival is currently the world's largest presenter of Indigenous screen content and continues to grow each year as it is internationally recognized for its excellence and innovation for the film industry. Not only does it give Indigenous artists a space to share their stories, but it is a recognized charity which strives to bring a greater understanding and appreciation for Indigenous cultures. I'm Erin Kaye at Toronto Metropolitan University for The Good News Show.
In the middle of the streets of São Paulo, 2 people with completely different stories meet and unite to follow a new path. Having the love of art in common and the need to make an income, the 2 get together and around comes a carona para arte, or a ride to art.
This is a project where they dress up as clowns and get on buses, singing songs, reciting poetry, and offering hugs. It's a way of spreading culture and popularizing art that's accessible to everyone.
Nas ruas frias e sem emoção de São Paulo, como qualquer outra grande capital, as pessoas mal olham umas para as outras.
mas em meio a esse cenário surge Uma Carona para a Arte, um projeto em que um casal se veste de palhaços e entra nos ônibus cantando músicas, recitando poesias e oferecendo abraços, utilizando dessa maneira uma brecha do dia a dia para democratizar a cultura e popularizar a arte. Val e Agatha são os criadores desse projeto. Tiveram uma infância complicada, mas seus caminhos se entrelaçam nas ruas.
Eu cresci com a minha mãe, biológica, e ela perdeu a minha guarda devido ao alcoolismo e ao uso de drogas. Com 18 anos fui pra rua, fui para uma casa amarela. Lá residia na época mais de 50 artistas independentes, pretos, periféricos. Nessa casa amarela eu conheci o Val.
Eu, assim como muitas crianças, periféricas, sou filho de uma mãe preta. Ela foi vítima com 7 tiros dentro de casa, na minha frente e na frente das minhas irmãs. Depois desse acontecido, vim para São Paulo quando eu tinha os meus 14 anos de idade. Por influência de alguns amigos, eu descobri a Casa Amarela e lá eu conheci a Agatha.
Uma iniciativa que mudou não só as vidas deles, mas que segue impactando a vida de milhares de pessoas todos os dias.
A gente usou como forma de comunicação com as pessoas nos ônibus a nossa poesia, a nossa música. E as pessoas ultimamente elas estão tão frias, mas a arte ela vem como forma de resgate mesmo.
Fazer arte no Brasil segue sendo muito difícil, já que não tem sua devida valorização.
Estou 28 anos aí contrariando as estatísticas, que pelo meu contexto de vida eu poderia ser qualquer coisa ruim por aí. E graças a Deus hoje eu sou artista de rua.
E é assim que Val e Agatha animam os cidadãos de Diadema e de São Paulo, dando motivo para sorrirem durante a sua rotina.
Uma Carona para a Arte.
They are definitely a lot less scary than the clowns we usually know. Now, throughout the show, we've seen some amazing videos from all around the world about different things from animals to culture. This show has been jam-packed.
Indeed it has, but we've come to the end now. If you want to see the show again, please head over to our website where you'll be able to see all the stories from the programme. How's it been reporting some good news, Shaylee?
Yes, one of my favorites was definitely learning about the Native Film Festival. I think it's so special to celebrate Native voices in Toronto.
I think one of my favorite stories was Amanda's because it's such a unique experience coming back together after being separated for so long that I think a lot of us resonate with. And over to you, Brazil.
Well, I'm a really pet person, so I've really enjoyed the pet rescue story. I think it's an initiative full of love and kindness, so I think it's essential and really important.
And talking about love and kindness, the brewing house in Leeds has warmed my heart by sheltering people during the cold weather. It's good to still have a burning flame in the kindness of humans. What about in the Netherlands?
We've heard so much good news today. I think all of them were great. After 2 years of COVID, it's nice to hear some positivity in the news. Now over to Hong Kong.
Let's hope 2023 brings more good news stories. I'm Toby Ng.
And I'm Annie Chen from Hong Kong Baptist University.
Thanks, Toby and Annie. And thanks to all our co-hosts and all our reporters.
Yes, it's been great to be a part of this huge production, working with colleagues in 8 universities in 7 countries across 16 time zones. I'm Roxy Allen.
And I'm Ben Rogers, from here at Leeds Trinity University in the UK. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.